Hello, Lordo, Beaver, everyone. Beautiful night for footy. It's a tick under 13 degrees. What's been a terrible week of rain here in Melbourne, but a clear night. We touch wood, hopefully, for the rest of the night. Couldn't believe that stat when you read it out on air, Beaver. The first game at the MCG for the Western Bulldogs in 10 months, was it?
10 months, yeah. The Demons in round 22 last year, and they only get one more game here this year, and that is in the final home and away round against Melbourne.
Yep, and the last time these two sides played here was, of course, that final game for Jamara, as you mentioned, and we haven't seen Cody Waitman since. It's one of the great complexities, one of the great uneven things about our game, and Chris Scott's been talking about this for years, and particularly if you've been watching his media conferences the last couple of weeks, and that is the fixture. And as we head into the first week of winter and the grind starts for not just football fans but clubs as well, with the buys starting, it's amazing that we look down at the ladder, Lordo, and you can go all the way down to 16th because Port Adelaide have a pretty healthy percentage at 100.9 in third last. They play the West Coast Eagles this weekend. You could make a case for any of those sides upwards of 16 playing in the wildcard round.
And you don't like it, do you?
I don't like it at all,
No.
but I feel like I'm in the minority, and the AFL would quite rightly point to the fact that, Lordo, for the first time ever at this time of the year, we've got hope in the bottom half of the ladder. Now, I would like to put my hand up and say, for me, it dilutes the finals. I don't really want a wildcard weekend. Of course, we'll all be happy when it comes because it's better than not having games. I accept that. The broadcasters will like it, particularly Channel 7, because they get to sell more ads. But ultimately, is this progressing our game? I don't think it is.
Before Lloydie responds, if the ladder stopped right now and we played the wildcard round next weekend, Melbourne would host the Giants and the Western Bulldogs would host the reigning premiers, the Brisbane Lions. Lloydie, I reckon they'd be a pretty tasty couple of matches.
Yeah, I think Sam's right. When it first came out, I was like, how are we rewarding this mediocrity? Because by the end, in 10 weeks' time, 12 weeks' time, there'll be some of those teams who'll be fighting to scrap. They'll be in all sorts of trouble. They won't be going too well. They could have lost four in a row or something like that, and they're still trying to hang on to 9th or 10th, and they play finals football. But for me, just the weekend off versus watching two more good games of football, I'd say good games because they mean so much. I actually am all for the wildcard round.
Well, so Lordy likes it. I mean, I don't. Beaver, keen to hear your thoughts as a broadcaster now for several years, but I'd love to hear from the callers as well, because ultimately, remember that when the wildcard round was announced late last year, the direct quote from the AFL Chief Executive, Andrew Dillon, was, "This is for the fans." Now,
to give hope.
I'm a cynical person. I think it was for money. But he's saying it's for the fans, so I want to hear from the fans. Do we like the wildcard round? I bet you kids 15 and under who want to have hope for Carlton supporters who were 1-8 could now go on a run and finish 10th and play in a wildcard weekend. I think that's preposterous that they should be afforded that opportunity given how putrid they've been to start the season. But again, I feel like I'm in the minority.
Doesn't it come back to the win-loss though? So currently, if it stopped the 10th place side, the Giants, they're 6-6. So they're at 50%. If you go back to the old days, 12-team competition here in Victoria with the top 5, quite often the 5th side would get in like 12-10 or 11-10 and a draw. So around about 50% or just above. So I'm no expert on the mathematics of it, but it's if we ever get to a situation where the 10th place side is getting in, 9-14, then you have an issue. But if you're around about 50% of winning against losing, then doesn't that it doesn't tear away too much at the integrity of it?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for it is, say you're a really good side that finishes 6th. So at the moment, it is Melbourne. So they've dropped off the last couple of weeks, but they were having a really good period up until then. But really
Adelaide's 6th at the moment.
Adelaide's
6th.
6th. And then, you just dropped to 7th. You're gone. You're absolutely gone. So you have to finish top 6. Otherwise, you're pretty much over because you have to try and win 5 games. So it does pretty much rule out. It's extra money, but teams don't win from 7th or 8th anyway, really, but you're no chance whatsoever. Say it was Brisbane Lions, they might scare someone if they were to finish 7th and get on a 4-week run, but trying to win 5 games from 7th would be just virtually impossible.
I just wonder, where does this all lead us? Like, where does this end, Beaver? We've got Tassie coming in, allegedly, in 2028. We think that there's going to be 20 teams. So the AFL and the broadcasters are going to want more games. Like, where are we going to be in 50 years with a 30-week season? I'm not sure this is beneficial for the longevity and sustainability of our game.
Your thoughts at the halfway mark of the home and away season about the wildcard round. Tell us which team you follow as well. Are you still energised, and do you still have hope if you, Barrick, follow a side that's somewhere between 7th and about 16th?
It's good for your team, Beaver. The Saints could be pedestrian enough just to limp into 10th.
As could the Baggers, who are, a game...
No. Carlton are awful, but St Kilda are just a little bit better, so they're falling to the pedestrian.
Carlton are awful. They've won 3 in a row, and they've just beaten one of the premiership favourites.
Because they were 1-8, and it's taken a coach being sacked.
So you can't change from being awful in the one season, given how long a year it is.
Don't get defensive.
No, I'm talking about Carlton.
I'm talking about St Kilda.
Sam has the new ball on this cool Friday evening. G'day, Sammy.
Yeah, good evening. I'm for the wildcard round. I reckon it's a great idea. It takes away the tanking for the sort of bottom part of the ladder. More teams are involved for longer. And as the great Lee Matthews said himself, it's the team that wins a premiership isn't necessarily the best team. It's the best team for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So you could get on a real tear. In 1990, Collingwood won the flag and we weren't the best team at all. Essendon were the best team. And we just went on a tear after we drew the first final, and that was it. So
different system, though, there, wasn't it, Sam? What was the system in 1990? It was top 5?
Top 5, still had replays, which gave... And Essendon, of course, the final round of 1990, Sheeds played the 4 Danaher brothers together. There was a few players rested. Then they had
the one time that happened, right? Where all 4 played?
Yes.
Yep.
Against the Saints at Moorabbin. Then they had the week off as finishing on top in the old Final 5 system. And then there was a draw in the qualifying final between Collingwood and West Coast, so Essendon got another week off before they played their second semi. It was ridiculous how little... But then they got smashed in the second semi by Collingwood as well, it must be said. But that's about 4 final systems ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that will be really interesting to see how it plays out from here. And we were just talking about, Sam, when Tasmania comes into it, how in a perfect world... we'd all play each other once, potentially, plus a particular round. I like the particular round where you have rivalries because you could play someone who's a gun side, who's a rival. So I wish we could get to a point where we just played and the value of our TV rights went up, because right now we'd be jockeying and you'd be going, geez, we're round 12 and we've only got 6 rounds to go. Who is going to make that, rather than stretching it out even further? So we're going more games when Tasmania come in, when I wish we could get to a point where we bring a 20th team in at some point and we go, we're all playing each other once, and that is it.
So Lloydie's tapped into something that is so philosophically simple, and yet we in AFL find it so difficult to comprehend. And that is the basic mantra of supply and demand. If we can keep the demand so high that we actually reduce the amount of games, right, but we reduce the supply, but we keep the demand so high, which the broadcast rights deal goes up, even though we've got less content. What a world that would be.
Is it what destroyed the Big Bash, where it was at the perfect and then we got greedy? And
it's probably one of the things that destroyed the Big Bash, the other thing being a just complete lack of intellectual governance.
Just before we go to David, I mean, this is where, when I say our competition is compromised, because in some ways we hang on to things that are so dear to us. And
like?
Well, where we're at with the number of games is a throwback to the 12-team competition. Play everyone twice, so you get 22 games. We had that from 1970. Yep. We went from 18 games. I think there was one year that might have only been 19, then 20, and then it went to 22 games. And we had 22 games forever. But then we started expanding the competition. So then the double-up started, and you play some teams, only a handful of teams twice. So you're suggesting what we need to just obliterate everything historic and start again?
I think so.
Like Luke Beveridge wanted for the rules, Beaver. He wants to blow it all up and
just start again with
a
blank canvas.
With a blank canvas.
An anarchist. Sam, thanks for your call. David, good evening to you. Welcome to Sports Today.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just very quickly, I think the wildcard round is very similar to American football, where they have their conferences and they have wildcard games for teams to try to get into finals. And I can envisage that if we go to a 20-team competition, you'll have 2 separate conferences of 10 teams each. And they'll sort out the fixture where the teams in the conferences play each other once, and then they might have the top tier play each other twice, for argument's sake, and then you'll have a playoff series. I can see our game turning into very much like the American Football League, where it's just going to be final upon final. And, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, it's interesting, David. I mean, Beaver and I were talking off air about, the NFL only goes for the best part of, 5 months, and yet it's the richest broadcast deal in the history of sport. So they've found a way to do that. Having said that, it's obviously a completely different economy in the US when it comes to sport than our game is here.
And they have, the 2 conferences, and then they have 4 divisions in each conference. My son, who follows the NBA a lot closer than I do, I follow the NFL closely, he said what we're doing isn't even a true wildcard system.
Yep.
The way they do it in the NBA, so it's 7v8 and the winner goes straight through, and then the loser of that game gets a second chance against the winner of
9v10.
9v10.
Yep.
But they can play every day or every other day, whereas we need...
How many games do they play in the NBA these days?
Well,
way too many.
Yeah, what's it, 80-odd in the regular
85,
season?
isn't it? Yeah.
Something like